Did you make slime as a kid? You know, that mushy gushy stuff that squishes between your fingers and gets all over the kitchen floor? Well, with the help from the Canadian Light Source, researchers are working hard to develop a new kind of slime that has real world potential. And some of the ideas sound a little futuristic. Erica Pensini is an associate professor at the University of Guelph and the lead researcher on the project. And she joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us. This sounds so cool, and I have so many questions, but can you just start by describing the kind of material we're talking about here?
Yes, absolutely. Well, the appearance is exactly as you described it. It is like slime. It's a transparent jelly material. And what is special about it is that if you squish it, it makes electricity. So we made these materials with completely natural ingredients, well, lots of water and amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins that we have in our body, and oleic acid or linoleic acid, which are constituents of olive oil or linseed oil. So all we did was put them together, mix them, and we had our gel. So this is, in a nutshell, what the material is, and then I can tell you a bit more why it makes electricity if you want.
Sure, before we get into that, can you kind of just describe for our listeners like what it feels like when you touch it?
It does feel like slime, and I actually, yeah, as slime, if you put it on your hands, it can feel a bit moisturizing, and this is extra moisturizing, and it can have healing properties. Maybe we can touch on that later, but this is literally what it feels like.
Oh, cool. Okay, well, we did say it has a lot of real world potential, but let's start with the electricity. How exactly does that work?
So essentially, imagine that you have a material within it many dipoles. Dipoles, you can envision that they're like little magnets with the two poles, right? Like a battery. Okay, so you have many little batteries, but now imagine that you have teeny little batteries which give you just the tiniest little bit of current. But if you put them all in a line, then you can make more current. Okay, so now in this material, the initial batteries, if you will, are all misaligned, right? So you can't really have any electricity uh, generated from this material. But now, if you compress it or you stretch it, well, then you can align these little batteries, and then you can have a net plus and a net minus pole the same way exactly as you have in a bigger battery, which you put in your, I don't know, in any device that you want to power with a battery, and that's it, right? And that's how you get electricity
Mhm.
generation. So the molecules have naturally these little dipoles, right? The problem is that if they're disorganized, if you just put like amino acids in water, then they're all disorderly, right? You can't really align the batteries. But now, if you make these structures that we form, then you're able to align them when you compress the material, and that's what's special.
It sounds so interesting to me, and I'm envisioning this slime, but how exactly can this be used, or what could it be used to electrify, I guess?
Yes. So in the application of this particular material is not necessarily to produce huge amounts of electricity, but a real perk of it is it's completely a natural composition. So imagine that you have a cut in your skin. Okay. The skin is also piezoelectric, and the bones are piezoelectric, and collagen is piezoelectric. So many parts of our body are piezoelectric. Now, when you cut your skin, as an example, your body immediately generates these electric fields, which call the healing molecules to the region that's injured, and that allows for healing. But now, if you put materials like the ones we made on this region, perhaps you can enhance these fields that are naturally forming in your body, and you can foster healing. So make healing happen faster or better, right? So this is an example of an application, but we are also making materials that can produce a lot more electricity. And in this case, the applications could also be exactly for energy generation. Now, a, a key feature of all the soft materials that we're making is that you can also introduce them in insoles, like in your shoes. And then as you step on them, you can figure out whether you have defects in your gait. Or if you can put them in soft skins on robots, you can figure out whether the robot is moving its arm or not. So They're materials that allow you to translate a mechanical action into an electric stimulus. You can embed them into upholstery, right, to generate electricity, but you can also put them in a blanket that allows you to detect for sleep apnea, right, or convulsions. So really, they're materials that convert mechanical stress into electricity for varying applications. And one other application of our materials is that maybe you can use them to release substances on demand because it's a two-way stream, right? You can
Mhm.
press them and they make electricity, or you can apply electricity and you change their structure. And during this change, you can release, say, pharmaceuticals or substances of interest in demand. So in for this type of application, a material which is completely biocompatible really shines.
So fascinating to me. And I know the synchrotron was very important to this work, but why?
Oh, yes. Yeah, the synchrotron has always been important for work, and in this particular line of research, it is very important because it really has what I would describe as super microscope, right? So this, if you look at something with the naked eye, you can see that it looks like slime. Then you look at it under a microscope, but not the super microscope as yet. And you can see that you form something that looks like a ribbon. Okay. So it's all twisted. But then you want to look further. You want to see the details of that ribbon. Okay. So you go to the synchrotron. And then if you look that closely, you can see the structure that you form. So with no water or very little water, we form a structure that looks like a lasagna, which is called lamellar. Then you put more water, and you start forming either sponges or something that looks like pancakes that are stacked. And if you look at the stack from the top, it looks like a hexagon, right? But more to this, what we could do at the synchrotron is apply an electric field onto a material that looked like a sponge or a pancake, and we could make it go back to the lasagna structure. So this is what I was telling you about how it's a two-way stream where you can
Mhm.
apply mechanical stress and you generate electricity, but you can also apply electricity and alter the structure. And this is something that we could uniquely see at the synchrotron because it allows for that high precision um, type of measurements, and it also allows you to simultaneously observe changes in structure as you're applying electric fields. Right, this is unique to the synchrotron.
Erica, we only have about 30 seconds left, but I want to just ask what's next for your slime.
Well, so we want to really build this portfolio of materials that are ideal for different applications, whether we want to make a lot of electricity or we want to use these materials for medical applications. We want to develop a portfolio where each type of material is optimized for a specific application. And one that we would like to explore is sensing of environmental pollutants, because I work a lot on water purification, pollutant migration. So harnessing these piezoelectric properties for the detection of problematic pollutants would be something that I'm really interested in doing, and that's a project for the next future.
Okay, I know I said I was going to let you go, but I have one more question because I know earlier I could see you right now. I saw you, it looked like you were going to go grab the slime. Are you using it yourself?
Yes, actually, I almost finished it. This is
Oh,
my little vial here that I keep as a hand moisturizer. So I climb. I have cats that play rough and scratch my hands, so I use it, and I'm trying to assess to which degree it's good for healing. It seems to work, but of course, like one person is not called a clinical trial, right?
hmm.
But it definitely is useful to me, so I keep it here in my office. I have some at home, and that's how I'm testing it for now.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing more about this slime. It is so interesting, Erica. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me, and have a wonderful day.